Welcome to the iRogya Wellness Podcast, your quick guide to a healthier life. In each episode, we'll explore practical tips and insights to help you on your journey to optimal health and well-being. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving into the world of noni juice. Now, you're probably familiar with Tahitian noni juice. It's pretty big in the wellness scene. But what you might not know is that noni is also grown and, bottled in other places too, like Hawaii.
Exactly. And while Tahitian noni juice has, let's say, a lot of recognition, Hawaiian noni juice has its own unique story and characteristics. So our mission today really is to explore what connects them and what sets them apart. We want to give you a clearer picture of the nuances between these two.
And it all stems from the same pretty amazing plant, Morinda citrifolia. It's an evergreen shrub native to the Pacific Islands, and well, you definitely know it when you smell it. It has a very potent aroma. For generations, people across these islands have used the fruit traditionally.
That's right. And when we start looking at the core elements, there's actually quite a bit of common ground between the noni from Tahiti and the noni from Hawaii. First off, like you said, they both come from the exact same source, the fruit of the Morinda citrifolia plant.
Okay, so same starting point, despite the distance. What about, what's actually in the juice, the nutritional stuff?
Good question. Generally speaking, both Tahitian and Hawaiian noni juice offer a similarly impressive range of nutrients. You typically find vitamins like C and E, important minerals, potassium, calcium, that sort of thing. And crucially, both are sources of antioxidants, these phytochemicals that contribute to well-being. But it's worth noting the exact levels can vary a little. Depends on the producer, how they process it, things like that.
Right, different batches of anything can vary slightly. Makes sense. Now, beyond the vitamins, what about the history? The traditional uses in Tahiti and Hawaii?
This is where it gets really interesting, connecting to the deep traditions of the islands. Both Tahiti and Hawaii have these long-standing histories of using noni fruit for its potential health benefits, supporting the immune system, helping with digestion, promoting general vitality, that kind of thing.
Can you elaborate a bit? How does each culture kind of view noni?
Sure. So in Tahiti, noni is really revered. It's seen as embodying this ancient wisdom almost, a natural remedy passed down generation to generation as sort of a key to well-being. It's deeply embedded in their culture.
Okay, deeply cultural. And Hawaiian perspective, is it similar?
Similar in importance, yes, but maybe with a slightly different emphasis. In Hawaii, noni is often viewed as a sacred gift from nature, awawa ikahiki, as it's sometimes called. It's believed to hold significant medicinal power, representing a kind of harmony, a connection between people, healing, and the aina, the land.
Wow, it's fascinating how one plant holds such weight in both places, even with those subtle differences in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, what about turning the fruit into juice? Are the processes similar?
Yes, the fundamental steps are quite alike, actually. For both Tahitian and Hawaiian noni, it starts with harvesting the fresh fruit, washing it really well.
And then comes fermentation. That's a key step for both. It helps release many of the beneficial compounds.
Okay, so harvesting, washing, fermentation, similar core process. Now, the big one for many people, the taste. I've heard noni juice is, let's just say distinctive.
Yes, distinctive is a good word for it. And both Tahitian and Hawaiian noni juice share that characteristic flavor profile. It's usually described as bitter, kind of earthy, and it comes with that noticeable tropical smell we mentioned earlier. So yeah, in terms of that core sensory experience, they are quite similar.
All right, so we've got some solid similarities. Same fruit, comparable nutrients generally, deep cultural roots, similar basic processing, and that shared unique flavor. Let's pivot now. What makes them different? What are the key distinctions?
Okay, so one of the first differences you often encounter is in let's call it the folklore, the traditional stories and beliefs surrounding noni in each place.
How so? How do those stories differ?
Well, in Tahiti, as we touched on, noni is very closely tied to ideas of longevity, maintaining good health through life. This understanding is really woven into their oral history, passed down through generations.
Right, longevity. And in Hawaii?
In Hawaiian tradition, noni is perhaps more seen as encapsulating the essence of the island's natural healing practices. It symbolizes that deep connection between humans and nature, a powerful agent of healing derived from the land itself.
Interesting how the cultural lens shapes the meaning, even for the same plant. What about where they grow? Does the actual environment, the terroir, make a difference?
Oh, absolutely. The growing conditions are a notable point of difference. In Tahiti, the noni plants often grow in volcanic soil, typical tropical climate. And this specific environment is often credited with potentially giving Tahitian noni a slightly milder taste and aroma.
Milder, okay. And Hawaii.
Hawaii also has that fertile volcanic soil, of course, and plenty of rainfall. These subtle environmental differences, soil composition, rainfall patterns, sunlight, could potentially lead to slight variations in the flavor profile compared to the Tahitian fruit. Think of it like coffee beans from different regions.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So even the ground it grows in matters. Are there differences in the specific types of noni plants used? Like, are they identical?
That's another subtle point. While they're both Marunda citrifolia, there might be slight variations in the specific cultivars that are predominantly grown or used. Think of cultivars like different varieties of apples, Fuji versus Gallo, for instance. They're all apples, but with slight differences. These minor genetic variations between cultivars could potentially influence the taste, the smell, maybe even the exact nutritional composition slightly.
Okay, so subtle variations within the same species. Got it. What about after harvest, how the juice is actually made? Any differences in processing techniques?
Yes, this can be another variable. Different producers, whether in Tahiti or Hawaii, might employ slightly different methods. For example, some might use cold pressing, others might use enzymatic extraction, or perhaps different fermentation times or temperatures. These variations in how the juice is processed can certainly influence the final quality, the nutrient retention, and maybe even the taste again.
Right, so the brand or producer could matter there too. Now, thinking practically, where can you actually find these juices? Is one easier to get than the other?
There's definitely a difference in market presence, largely due to marketing history and geography. Tahitian noni juice, partly because it was one of the first to really go global, tends to have a much broader international reach. It's generally more recognized worldwide.
Okay, more widespread. What about Hawaiian noni?
Hawaiian noni juice is highly respected, absolutely, but you're more likely to find it readily available within Hawaii itself, or perhaps through more specialized retailers online. Its distribution outside of Hawaii tends to be a bit more limited compared to the big Tahitian brands. So yeah, availability can be a real factor for some people.
Right, just depends on where you live or shop. Now, probably one of the most obvious differences people might notice just reading the label is what else is in the bottle. The ingredients.
Yes, this is a really key distinction, probably the most straightforward one. Hawaiian noni juice is typically just that, 100% pure noni juice, nothing added. Tahitian noni juice, on the other hand, very often includes other fruit juices blended in. Blueberry and grape are common additions.
Ah, okay. Why add those?
Primarily for taste, to make the strong noni flavor a bit more palatable for a wider audience. But also, those added fruits bring their own nutrients and antioxidants to the table, so it changes the overall profile of the juice.
So Hawaiian is typically pure noni. Tahitian often has added fruit juices like blueberry and grape. That's a clear difference. Okay, so we've explored the similarities and the differences. Let's try to bring it together. What are the main takeaways for someone trying to choose?
Well, the bottom line is that both Tahitian and Hawaiian noni juice can offer potential health benefits because they both come from the noni fruit. There isn't really a single better one overall. It truly boils down to individual preference and priorities.
Right, personal choice. Can you break down some of those factors people might consider?
Definitely. So if taste sensitivity is a big thing for you, if you find strong, bitter flavors challenging, then the potentially milder taste, sometimes associated with Tahitian noni, maybe from the growing conditions or those added juices, that might be appealing.
Okay, so taste could lean you towards Tahitian if you're sensitive. What if you want just the noni, nothing else?
Then Hawaiian noni juice is likely your best bet. If you're seeking that 100% pure, unadulterated noni experience, that's typically what Hawaiian brands offer.
Makes sense. And the added blueberry and grape in the Tahitian kind, what's the upside there, besides potentially masking the flavor?
Well, as we mentioned, those added fruits contribute their own flavor profile, which some people prefer, and they also bring their own set of antioxidants and nutrients, potentially leading to a broader spectrum or higher overall antioxidant count in some Tahitian blends compared to pure noni juice.
So it's a bit of a trade-off. Purity versus potentially a more mellow taste and different antioxidant mix.
Exactly. And don't forget availability, like we discussed.
Right. For many people, it might just come down to which one they can actually buy easily.
Precisely. That can often be the deciding factor in practice.
Okay. We've talked about traditional use and the general nutrients. Any final thoughts on the potential health benefits of noni juice overall?
Well, research does suggest noni juice contains compounds, especially antioxidants, that could contribute to general well-being, maybe support the immune system. But it's always good to remember that, more rigorous human studies are still needed to confirm specific effects definitively. Science is ongoing.
Good point. Keep a balanced view. And for someone thinking of trying it, any general tips on how to take it?
Yeah, the common advice is usually to start small, maybe just an ounce or two a day. And diluting it with water can help, especially at first, because of that strong flavor. Taking it on an empty stomach is often recommended too, possibly for better absorption.
Okay, start small, maybe dilute it, empty stomach. Got it. And any precautions? Things people should absolutely be aware of.
Yes, definitely. First, that strong taste and smell, be prepared. Also, there's a potential for interactions with certain medications, like blood thinners or some blood pressure drugs. And importantly, people with kidney problems should be cautious, because noni is high in potassium. So the standard advice applies. If you have any health conditions or you're on medication, absolutely talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before you start taking noni juice.
Crucial advice. Always best to check with a professional. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive comparing Tahitian and Hawaiian noni juice, could you give us just a quick summary of those key similarities and differences again?
Sure. So, similarities. Both originate from the Morinda citrullifoliar fruit, both generally rich in nutrients and antioxidants. Both have deep cultural roots in traditional wellness practices, similar basic processing involving fermentation, and that shared distinctive bitter, earthy taste. Differences boil down to the specific cultural stories and emphasis, the subtle impact of growing conditions on potential flavor, possible variations in cultivars, potential differences in processing methods between brands, market availability. Tahitian is often wider, and the big one, ingredients. Hawaiian is typically pure. Tahitian often includes added fruit juices like blueberry and grape.
Great summary. So ultimately, choosing between Tahitian and Hawaiian noni really comes down to you, the listener. It depends on what you value most. Is it the purity of 100% noni? Is it a potentially milder flavor profile? Are the extra antioxidants from added fruits appealing? Or is it simply about what you can conveniently find?
Exactly that. Think about what matters most to you. Is it the ingredient list, the subtle taste nuances, accessibility? Hopefully this exploration gives you the information you need to make a more informed choice if you decide to explore the world of noni juice for yourself.
Thanks for tuning in to the Airogaya Wellness Podcast. Remember, small steps lead to big changes. If you're curious about the products we mentioned today, you can find them all at airogaya.com. That's AIROGYA.com. And hey, use the code AIROGYA15 at checkout for a 15% off discount. Please note that the code is not applicable for Europe, some parts of the Middle East, and South Africa. Until next time, keep taking those steps towards a healthier you.